Hello, my name is Bertina Long. I am a student at Aspen University. I am also the Executive Director of Grandparents Raising America's Children to Excel, Inc., better known as Project Grace. So, Project Grace, Grandparents Raising America's Children to Excel, Inc., better known as Project Grace, is a 501c3 that was officially incorporated in September of 2010. Project Grace's mission is to engage at-risk youth being raised by grandparents in positive experiences that will encourage them to pursue a higher education and become productive, self-sufficient citizens. Project Grace programs. Some of the programs that we offer are support groups, mentoring, life skills, case management, caregiver health using self-management, technology training, literacy programs, college prep, health safety and disaster training, and then we have the Smart Start Early Bird School Readiness Program. One of our goals is to bridge educational and generational gaps. Project Grace input. Inputs comprise of human sources, raw supplies, assets, funds, and data. Project Grace receives funding to assist volunteers who possess various skills to provide information to the grandparents that will benefit the family as a whole. In addition, volunteers advocate on grandfamilies' behalf when needed. Grandparents frequently turn out to be caregivers due to misfortunes such as the passing of a mother or a father, a parent split up, and desertion. Around the clock guardianship is also caused when an unwedded teenager has a baby and needs support. Many parents end up abusing alcohol or some sort of narcotic, are in the hospital due to AIDS. Some even abuse their children. They lose their jobs. Some are sent on assignment by the armed forces. Some get incarcerated, and others may battle illness with mental health. Project Grace Conversion. The conversion stage is where the input gets converted to output. At Project Grace, the input is then converted into case management services where the volunteers utilize their skills to provide case management services, which assesses the client's family needs. Some of the needs include linking and referring clients to resources needed, such as food, clothing. It is also converted to programs such as self-management of chronic conditions, literacy programs, and college prep programs. Then we have Project Grace output. Now, the output stage ends up as completed manufactured good or services. The output for Project Grace's organization is that grandfamilies' needs are met, the grandparents as well as the grandchildren are able to further their educational aspirations, and then the grandparents grow to become self-sufficient, productive citizens who are well-rounded, functioning adults. So, Project Grace organizational effectiveness. So, as you can see here, we have our chart here where at the top you see the parent. So, from the parent, we go to the grandparent and the grandchild. The parent is the connection to the grandparent and the grandchild. So, once they come to our services, what we then do is provide case management services. That's to assess the grandfamily's needs. Once we assess those needs, then what we'll do is we'll look at what programs that the grandparent may need or will benefit being a part of, as well as what resources they need. And then on the other side of that, you have the grandchild, and we assess the programs that the grandchild will benefit from and what resources the grandchild actually needs. And then also together, we decide what programs and resources will benefit the family as a whole. Once we assess those needs and identify those programs and resources, what the outcomes are self-sufficient, productive uh, grandchildren. Also, the grandparents, they become more self-sufficient, more productive as it relates to raising their grandchildren, and sometimes even themselves, because sometimes they come to us and they don't have their GED or high school diploma, or they want to go back to college, or they want computer skills. So that can also benefit the grandparent as well. Of course, you have the educational goals, as I said, their reach, and then their needs are met. Organizational effectiveness has progressed from human resources and is more tactical and minimally responsive. If an organization is extremely effective, it is extremely successful. The benchmark for assessing an organization's effectiveness ought to be the evidence of its achievement or unsuccessfulness in obtaining its goals. All right, so Project Grace policy and procedures. So we have an example of some of our policy and procedures. Now, all grant families must fill out an application to be a part of the organization. Since we are a 501c3, we're held accountable to what services we're giving, the donations that we receive. Who is this money going to? Who are these donated items going to? So, in order to keep in line with that, we make sure that our families fill out an application. Now, grandparents must provide documentation of guardianship of their grandchildren, and that's whether it is formal or informal. Now, formal is going to be legal custody. They've adopted their grandchild. They have guardianship through the courts or through DHS. Now, informal is going to be where a grandparent saw that their child could not take care of their children and they just stepped in and took the grandchildren without any formal legal documentation. That's also allowed in our program. However, with that type of guardianship, we ask that the grandparent at least provide us something from a pastor, from a school, a doctor, some official as to whether or not they have custody of their grandchildren. Also, must participate in programs that will assist in a positive educational outcome for their grandchildren. So we don't want them to just come to us when they need something for Christmas, as we just finished with our Christmas drive. We want them to come to us also for the programs, because the main goal is to get their grandchildren on a level to where they become self-sufficient adults. So that's basically Project Grace in a nutshell. I hope you have learned something about our program, or at least learned something about grandparents raising grandchildren.